Yeah, there's been some Chungus drama. Chungus drama in my Chungus Bungus. No, the guy making the book. The drama with Blizzard is the fact one person is making a book right now. I don't know their exact name because I am stupid. He's writing a book about Blizzard, everything that's going on there. One of the things that was revealed there was the fact that Blizzard actually had a Netflix deal to make an Overwatch series and many other series. Jason Schreier, I know how to pronounce his name. This is the actual post. I'm really scared to open websites on my stream. On Reddit, about the fact that he's making a book coming out on October 8th. And he decided that he wants to do a Q&A. So he made a little Q&A here where people asked him a bunch of questions. One of the things was shared, which I will show you a bit later, was the fact that Blizzard did want to make a Netflix series for a bunch of things, including Overwatch, but Blizzard sued Netflix, so Netflix doesn't want to work with them anymore. First, I just want to go through all the comments, all the interesting things, and discuss them. Oh, I can zoom in. Okay, that's not gonna work. The more recent event, the harder it was to get people to talk on the record, which makes sense if you think about it. Nobody's really worried about someone going after them because they spilled the beans on what it was, like silicon signups. Yeah, I spoke to a bunch of Activision folks. I think I understand why a lot of people do not want to talk about it, but you know, I'm glad that they actually spoke up because we can actually get a lot of insight. You mentioned that Mike Moore resigned as CEO. Oh yeah, one of the stories was that the CEO resigned because he was tired of fighting back against Bobby Kotick for control of Blizzard. That was revealed quite some time ago, I think a week ago or so. Chris Manson developed several health issues following the cancellation of Project Titan development of Overwatch. Yeah, Bobby Kotick is a massive piece of shit. I think everybody knows that because for the longest time we've had to deal with him, and finally he's away. Did Metzen and Kotick ever clash in a similar way that Morhaime and Kotick did? And was that a factor in his decision to resign? But they did fight. The book is based on interviews with more than 350 people. Being able to interview 350 people, okay, this is boring. Next, is it true a single mount in oh, this is an interesting one. Is it true a single mount in World of Warcraft earned more money than StarCraft 2? Revenue? No. Profit? Maybe. Using made-up numbers, if StarCraft 2 cost 10 million to make and brought in revenue of 15 million, while the amount cost 1,000 to make and brought in revenue of 6 million, then the amount made more profit than StarCraft 2, but I know there are all sorts of funky accounting tricks that these companies use to determine stuff like this. The idea of a single mount making more than StarCraft 2 seems like an urban legend, especially given that StarCraft 2 had 3 different expansions, then went free to play. I think Blizzard has definitely made more money with a fraction of the skins. I think even with like 20 skins, they've probably made more money than StarCraft 2 or any single player game they've made because of how much time and effort it takes to actually make single player games, or you know, games like StarCraft 2, because it takes so much time to actually develop those games. The music and the fucking voice in the background from Overwatch are making me lose my mind. It takes so much time to develop a game and a project only for it to either flop or generate as much revenue, a little bit more than just a few skins. That is why so many companies in general just focus on skins right now. You know, there is no reason for anyone to develop these games, especially Blizzard, when they can be selling collaboration number 57. And I like collabs, but I think it is kind of sad that nobody wants to reinvent the wheel or try to push gaming in a different space like back in the day, and instead just selling skins over and over again. But either way, I digress. I don't think one skin has made more, but I think World of Warcraft makes insanely more money than StarCraft 2 ever did or will. Purely because StarCraft 2 was one buy and that's it. Warcraft is a subscription base with skins, with whatever else. It's just, yeah, it's all about the money. Hey Jason, are you able to... Oh, this is what Overwatch mentioned. Hey Jason, are you able to share any details about the string of high-profile departures from Team 4 before Overwatch 2 shipped, like Jeff Kaplan and Sonny Chaco? And if new leads like Aaron Keller and Jared News have more freedom post-acquisition? Since I recall, I'm sorry for butchering his name, News. Since I recall you mentioning that Bobby was breathing down their necks a lot during Overwatch 1. Also, for a World of Warcraft focus question, do you know where the impetus, what is an impetus to do a 3 expansion saga came from? Who cares about World of Warcraft? Yes, this is covered extensively in the book. but here's the short version. The short version. Overwatch 1 was a huge success, and Bobby Kotick was thrilled about it. So thrilled, in fact, that he asked the board of directors to give Mike Morhaime a standing ovation during one meeting. Wow. Following Overwatch 1's release, Team 4 began to run into a bit of a problem. They had too much work to do. That is understandable, because the game was giga popular. I don't know if you remember how popular Overwatch was. They had to simultaneously keep making new stuff for Overwatch 1, which almost accidentally turned into a live service game, work on Overwatch 2, which was Jeff Kaplan's baby and would have brought more players in the universe via PvE, and 3, help out with the ever-growing Overwatch League. I think this is interesting because at the end of the day, he clearly says here that Overwatch 2 has been worked on for a very, very long time, even like towards the beginning of Overwatch 1. And it was difficult to maintain both patches for Overwatch 1 and work for Overwatch 2. And Jeff Kaplan, it is said here that Overwatch 2 was Jeff Kaplan's baby because Jeff Kaplan wanted to make a PvE experience. And I think that was the initial vision that they showed with the trailers and everything. But it all fell apart. Because why would it not? Because Blizzard are greedy. And it's kind of sad because all of the work they put in was all scrapped away and left to rot. And finally, they also had Overwatch League. They could have just hired more people, but they didn't. Kotick's solution to this problem was to suggest that Team 4 hire more people. Exactly. Hundreds more people like his Call of Duty factory. And start a second team to work on Overwatch 2 while the old team works on Overwatch 1 or vice versa. Kaplan and Chaku Sony were resistant to this because they believed pretty strongly in the culture they had built. More people can sometimes lead to more problems and less efficient development, and led to all sorts of problems as the years went on. Kaplan just kind of decided that he doesn't want any help with anything. That's why it took so much time to actually get any patches on Overwatch 1. That's why it took so much time for Overwatch 2 to get released. That's why everything was so slow and underdeveloped and just a mess because they had too many visions. They had too many things they wanted to do at once, but it just didn't work out. It didn't pan out. I don't know why they even started Overwatch 2. I think they started Overwatch 2 closely after they released Overwatch 1. And it's like you spread the focus of everything just to release a mediocre product in every single way. Overwatch 1 started falling off. Overwatch 2 was super delayed. And Overwatch League is disbanded. So all of the 3 things that they want to work on simultaneously are just kind of gone. Overwatch 2 is nothing like they wanted it to be because it's just Overwatch 1 kind of reskinned and it's just more updates. It's not the PvE experience Jeff Kaplan wanted. So all of their effort for every single part, every single point was just absolutely destroyed. It was obliterated. They didn't do anything. They didn't deliver a good experience with Overwatch 1 because they just let it rot. They didn't make a good game with Overwatch 2 because Overwatch 2 could have happened even with some updates to Overwatch 1. And Overwatch League is that. It was falling off. Overwatch 1 was falling off. But Overwatch 1 was falling off because Overwatch 1 was so slow with updates. Like, do you remember how slow it was? It would take months to get an update. A new hero would come out once in a blue moon. I think Echo was the last hero, and then 2 years later, Overwatch 2 came out. So we had 2 years of nothing. It is insane. I think, plus the patches would be so long that metas and broken characters would linger for such a long time. It would just make the game super boring. And that fucking sucked. It sucked so much because we begged for patches. And people, this is one of the main reasons why I really hate when people keep yapping about how much better Overwatch 1 was. Because they just remember the good times. But I was here and I was streaming and I was grinding every single day. And I remember how miserable it was to beg for a sliver of anything, but we didn't get anything. We didn't get anything because they were working on Overwatch 2, and then Overwatch 2 came out and they scrapped everything. So what was the point of any of it? I feel like if they focus their efforts into one single thing, either Overwatch 1 or make a PvE or Overwatch League or anything. Okay, Overwatch League was doomed from the start. They could have done something with it. Yes, there wasn't any monetization left in Overwatch 1. I think Jeff Kaplan's idea was to release Overwatch 1 and then leave it, and then go to Overwatch 2 and make a PvE experience. But I think what happened was that Overwatch 1 was such a big success that he got pressure to actually, go out and keep updating the game even though he didn't want. And this way, he had to delegate his own responsibilities and his team to do multiple things at once, and they didn't have resources to focus on one thing. And it's such a miss. It's such a miss because Overwatch was such a hit. Overwatch could have been like League of Legends right now if they actually managed it correctly. If they actually didn't go for this silly thing. And I'll be a hater right now, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I wish they never even tried to make PvE. I wish that they grinded Overwatch 1 and kept updating it over and over again. And then 6 years later, they started work on PvE, or even 4 years later. Not 1 year into Overwatch 1 or 2 or whatever else. Or I know when they started development for Overwatch 2, because it went up and then it started slowly going down. Instead of maintaining the hype and just growing on it and building your fan base, you just go focus on something else and just completely miss. You miss so hard. You miss so hard. I think Jeff might be a really good developer and had a really good vision, because Overwatch 1 is his baby. But at the end of the day, I think he had a really old view of how things are supposed to work. Because in this business, in this world today, the fact is that you can't just go and make a game and abandon it most of the time, unless you're looking for a single player experience, which Overwatch wasn't a single player experience, right? And Blizzard clearly want to make a bunch of money from it, so obviously he had to keep updating it. So I think it's just stupid. I think the fact that Kotick wanted to solve it by hiring more people was a good idea. I disagree with them not wanting more people, but at the same time, I think Kaplan and Sonny are not stupid people, and I think there was more to it other than, oh, we just don't want more people. I think it was more like maybe they didn't agree with who Kotick wanted to hire. Maybe they want to keep a high quality of people working on the team. They didn't want to just hire a bunch of people that didn't know what to do. They want to keep the quality really, really up there, because Blizzard has been known for that, and Overwatch is a really well-made game. So I think maybe that's one of the reasons. You couldn't make Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 and Overwatch League with the amount of resources they had. They could focus on one thing and really polish it up, but definitely can't make all of it. And you can see it now with the aftermath, like the nuclear explosion, everything's falling apart. Overwatch 2 isn't dead. It's nowhere near as good as it was supposed to be, or in the sense that it did not deliver anything that was promised. It just kind of sucks. We could have had so much more. We could have had a lot more, but we don't, and we gotta live with it now, and it's kind of sucks. I don't think Overwatch 2 is unhealthy, and I don't think Overwatch 2 is a bad game, and I think the dev team is better and they actually listen, because back in the day nobody would fucking listen. I think we have cast such deep wounds on every single fan by just ignoring them, lying, and betraying them, that no matter what the Overwatch team does at this point, there will be always a sour taste in their mouths. And you can see it with the amount of hate and just disgust people treat the game. Every time I mention the game to anyone or talk about it, people say, I've played it, I've heard it, but I no longer do. It fell off or whatever else. And it's really hard to regain their trust, because even if they go ahead and make the most crazy patch out there, people will still be skeptical to try out the game. Overwatch 2 suffers from the fact the player base is deeply hurt and just upset, and it's really hard to start with a new clean slate. Yeah, people say that about every game. It is especially true for Overwatch, because I feel like the main thing about this game is just how much people fucking hate it, right? That is such a big part of this community, because with League, with Dota, and CS, and whatever else, there is a lot of hype and a lot of love into it, and people still play it casually or competitively. But with Overwatch, it's quite literally every single person I meet, it's always, I have played Overwatch, I don't want to play it again. Overwatch fell off. Overwatch sucks. Overwatch this, they ruined it, whatever else. They say that about every game, but they still keep playing other games. But Overwatch is just not it. And you can also see the most popular content on Overwatch for the last 6 years has always been hating on Overwatch. And as long as you hate on Overwatch, you get a lot of people watching. And it's not because the content creators are pushing the narrative, it is because that's the narrative people want to hear. And it's purely because people are upset. Overwatch 1 comes out, they release a bunch of shit heroes. I'm gonna say it straight up. Overwatch 1 comes out, the heroes after Ana are absolutely garbage, except Bo was fine, I guess. Like, Risa was garbage. Fuck Sombra. Whatever the fuck, Brigitte. Fuck Baptiste. No patches. Fuck. It was so ass. I mean, Sigma, whatever. I just fucking hate 90% of the Overwatch 1 cast that came out. Echo, fuck Echo. Piece of shit character. I'm just gonna say it outright. Overwatch 1 characters outside of the initial roster fucking were horrible. Like 60% of them. Yeah, Ash is fine. Overwatch 1 comes out. The developers ignore the community for the longest time. Nobody listens. And I promise you, nobody fucking listened. I remember it so well. Nobody listened. We begged for changes. We begged for patches. Nobody would patch. Patches barely came. New heroes barely came. We had no new maps. We had the most horrific experience on fucking Paris, Lunar Colony, fucking whatever else, Anubis, they didn't do anything. That's not true though. You say they barely listen now, but I disagree. I disagree with that statement. You can complain all you want about the dev team right now, but they're miles ahead of the dev team of Overwatch 1. Fuck Moira, are you fucking real? I should not play Apex. That is even more of a dumpster fire. The fact of the matter is, Overwatch 2, actually, when there is a huge-ass issue, they go and do something about it. They're not perfect about it. There's still a lot of stupidity and a lot of ignorance and whatever else. And there's a lot of broken synergies and broken comps and broken heroes. But at least it's not fucking stale. At least it's not Ghost for a year. It's not Double Shield for a year. Mauga comes out, Mauga is broken, instantly nerfed. Something is broken to the point of making the game unplayable, instantly nerfed. At least they do something about it. Season 9, they change up stuff. They release new maps, they release new game modes, release new heroes. There's stuff happening. You can say, you can anything. You can disagree with the choices they make, talk about it. You can say that they're stupid, whatever. At least they make something happen. In Overwatch 1, we didn't have anything happening. Anything. And nothing would happen in Overwatch 1. Nothing. I remember it so clearly. It was literally, you play the game, you play for months. You play the game, you play GOATs for a year straight. It's the same fucking game, the same fucking maps. No new game modes, no nothing. Yeah, but Mauga's season barely lasted a month or so. Or maybe 2 months max. It didn't last a fucking year, you know? That's my point. No development team will ever release a patch that is absolutely perfect every single way. Every single time. Every single developer in every single game will make mistakes and do stupid things, especially in games like Overwatch with so many variables that are competitive. If you ask League players, Dota players, whatever else players, they will always complain about some shit. And we're no different. You can't balance a game for everyone. A competitive game is, you can't balance that shit. What you have to do is make it as balanced as possible without having any crazy outliers, and then just make the game fun and freshen up sometimes. If you nerf Roadhog today and buff Moira, Moira players will be happy and Roadhog players will be unhappy. You get what I mean? There will always be somebody who's unhappy. Always. Somebody always lose. You can't, there's no patch that can happen that makes everyone happy. A zero-sum game. And that's fine. But at least we have things happen. And it sucks that we didn't get a PvE, and sucks that somebody just invited me to the thing, but I just fucking hate all this. I hate this Chungus. I hate this Bungus. Now, I hate the fact that we never got what was promised because I feel like Kaplan was stuck in the past. And I think he was too ambitious. He was too ambitious. He wanted to do too many things at once. Or maybe he was pressured into it. It just all fell apart. Not to say that Overwatch 2 is a failure. It's just that if you keep lying to your community or like never delivering, people will stop trusting you and just move on. And that's what has happened with Overwatch. Because no matter what they do right now, people will just never come back. You just need to bring in new players. And I think slowly but surely they're doing it, but still, we just never reach these heights again. But yeah, this is my opinion. I think I need to play with the VTuber gang now. I will go into the Netflix series later. But yes, that is my thing with the Chungus. But El Kaplan.